Hi, morning, Suzanne. How are you?
Morning. Yeah, good, thank you.
Excellent. Can you see and hear me okay?
I can. Yeah. Can you see me and
Ah,
hear me?
fantastic. Yes, can do. So, thank you for joining me this morning.
That's okay.
I can see in the diary we've got 45 minutes scheduled. Is that still okay for you?
45 minutes. Yeah, no, that should be fine. I have got a call this morning, but yeah, it's not for a while. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. Yeah, cool.
Okay, fantastic. So, I can see that you booked in through the video on our landing page. So, just wondered if you could tell me, what was it about the video that made you want to book a call with me today?
So I have been in the industry a long time.
Mhm.
I have been doing new business all my life, 30 years running a
Oh,
design
wow.
agency. And now I support a different design agency. It's my partner's business.
Okay.
And so it's just the two of us.
Mhm.
And I have been saying for a long time that I think my methods are a little bit outdated. I'm very familiar with funnels, sales, because I have another business, so I do a lot of that work.
Right.
Um, and I have been trying to incorporate that for Oaken design, but I feel like it needs a oomph and needs a little bit of zhuzh. And I feel that my mindset is not current. It's current in my business, but not necessarily in Oaken. Just because I've been doing it so long, I feel like we need a little bit of fresh eyes on it.
Right, I see. Yeah, you're kind of in the weeds too much to be able to see from an outside
Yeah,
perspective.
and
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
getting an opportunity. When I was running the agency, we had a big team, we had salespeople, we had big clients. I felt I was a little bit more embedded into what was actually going on in the real world.
Mhm.
So I was much more current. I feel like I'm a little bit out of the loop in terms of what my client potential needs are, what their pain points are, all of that sort of thing.
Right.
So I feel like it would be useful to just see what someone else's perspective on the industry is, because it's moving with the times. And as I say, I'm very familiar with the funnels and the formats and the digital, how to
Mhm.
market digitally, but I haven't made it work yet for Oaken.
Right, I see. Okay. So you mentioned Oaken and then you mentioned your own business as
Yeah.
well. Could you just give me a rundown on both of those? What you're doing with them at the moment?
Yeah, so my own business is called,
Mhm.
and I run a business coaching business. So I support female founders, entrepreneurs, to coaches, all in the wellness space, to
Oh,
do the master
fantastic.
the business side of their business, really.
Mhm.
So I support them with that. So a lot of what I do with them is around sales, marketing, funnels, all of that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Oaken is my partner's business, and I support him with client attraction, client acquisition, that sort of thing. And yeah, as your video, we've done the usual. We've got contacts, we've got leads from floor plans, we've walked the show. I'm just so done with that old way of doing things,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
just don't think the buyers want that anymore. I think the buyers are your age, they're not my age anymore. So they respond differently. So I recognise that. So that's where we're at the moment. But Oaken is very successful in that we have got lovely clients. We are going
Mhm.
around the world. A lot of them are referrals, people we've worked with in the past. We've got a few new leads, but basically we need to up the lead generation and
Right,
conversion ratio.
okay. Okay. So what are you doing for lead generation at the moment? And also how are you managing those leads on the back end?
Yeah, yeah. So I have a system in place, and I am emailing, just cold emailing at the moment.
Mhm. Okay, and that's all manually, is it?
No, I've used a system to automate the emails. Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay, cool. Which system are you using for that?
I don't think you'll know. It's a lead connector one. It's a white label one. It's
Okay, is that Go High Level? Is that the
no,
Go High
it's
Level
all
one?
similar. It's one of these. It's white labeled as something else, but behind the scenes, I think it's lead connector.
Right, I see. Okay, cool. Um, and how many projects are you doing at the moment each month, and what sort of countries are you operating in?
Yeah, so we operate internationally. We do a lot of work
Mhm.
in the US. We are probably, it depends. We're probably working on about 3 projects a month, but some of them are quite big, some are small. So it varies. There's no consistency.
Okay. Right, I see. Okay. And is that one of the things that you're trying to improve, I guess, is that consistent lead flow so that
Yeah,
you're
I
not
mean, we
having.
need, it's the, you know, just to be honest, we're exactly the same as all your other clients. I'm sure the brief is exactly the same as you get from all of the other guys you're working with. You know,
Mhm.
everybody wants, you know, everybody's got a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 win ratio. So to win 3, 4 clients a month, you know, we need to be upping the level of leads.
Yeah.
So we're all in the same boat, I would say,
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
some of the examples that you said in your video.
Okay, sounds good. And what kind of success have you been having with the lead connector emails that you've been sending out?
Yeah, it's okay. It just sometimes some emails go out and I get a good response, some don't. It varies. Again, it's the question around whether it goes into their junk, all of those sorts of
Hmm.
stuff. You know, there's a lot of questions around that which I could explore, but I just don't really have that time. So that's why I'd be interested to hear how you work and how you operate.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously you saw the the system on the video. We use a platform called Instantly, and we're very careful about how we warm up our domains and our mailboxes and the setup on the back end as well, setting them up correctly to make sure that we have really high deliverability. I mean, our deliverability at the moment is sort of 99% plus. So, you know, the vast majority of those emails are going into people's inboxes, which is why our response rates are so good. Because it is one of the hardest parts about cold email these days, especially with the recent changes that Outlook and Google have made uh, around their kind of spam filtering systems, and it's a lot more difficult than it used to be, say, 9 months ago. Are you using LinkedIn at all for your outreach at the moment?
Very low. That's something that I want to focus on.
Hmm.
And I've been thinking about creating a sort of a LinkedIn strategy. But I just haven't really, I've dabbled, let's say I've dabbled rather than actively and
Right.
proactive.
Okay. Yeah, because one of the things that we've been doing is automated LinkedIn voice messages, which have been working really well for us lately. Um, we only figured out how to do it a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't even know that you could send voice messages on LinkedIn. Did you?
I do know
Oh, you
that.
did? Okay. Well, you're ahead of the curve there. But yeah, we figured out a way to do that on an automated basis and even have the AI clone your voice so that you can say people's names and, personalize the voice messages that way, which has been a lot more effective than just the text messages. Because I think, first of all, you've got that novelty factor. Some people don't know that LinkedIn voice messages are a thing, so you don't get as many of them. And then also just being able to hear somebody speak, it's a lot more personable. It's the reason why I had a video on my landing page of me speaking, because it would be a lot less effective if it was just a wall of text. So I think that would be a really good option for you. You mentioned getting sort of around 3 or 5 extra projects a month. Is that how many you're looking to take on?
Um, if we could convert to a month, that would be fine.
Okay.
Two projects, one a month
Hmm.
would be fine.
Okay. And
Worst.
what's the average sort of project size? Are you dealing with really high ticket or more on the lower side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we're looking at the 80 to between the 80 to 200 would
Hmm.
be good. That's all we need. That we're not looking for the £1 million, 500k plus. You know,
Right.
we're two-man band, so it would
Okay, I
be,
see.
if they came in as a bonus, we do get invited in, but I think we're in for the numbers. I'd rather
Hmm.
be targeting clients that we've got a real chance of winning.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Are there any industries in particular that you work with?
Yeah, gaming, particularly aerospace, aviation, pharma, tech, emerging tech, the usuals, really.
Okay, okay. Do you need a special permit to do aerospace stuff? Because one of my clients does a lot of nuclear shows, and I know that he needed to have some kind of special security clearance to work on them. I'm just wondering if it's the same for aerospace as well.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter at this point in pitch. It just means once you've won it, you just have to
Oh, I
provide a
see.
bit more detail to get a pass into the show.
Right, okay,
It's
I
not a
see.
big deal.
Mhm, mhm. So what would you say is your biggest bottleneck at the moment then in stopping you from scaling to those numbers on your own?
I think we've hit some challenges. I think some of it is the tech, the
Mhm.
fact that, you know, we've got lists, but they are perhaps not being technically, you know, serviced properly. I think we just are not sending some, the message isn't landing.
Right, okay.
And
Okay.
I think I would like to explore some different ways through LinkedIn or, you know, however, I think a lot of agencies out there are probably doing the traditional, you know, everybody can send an email, we can
Mhm.
walk the show. I think we're a bit cooler than that. I want to do something a bit different. I don't want to just, you know, it's just me and Tom, we can do what we like, you
Yeah, you want
know,
to stand
and
out.
yeah, I need to just do something a bit different, and I'm quite happy to give that a go. I've got nothing
Okay.
to lose, you know,
Well,
we're
you've come to
not,
the right place then. I'm the new kid on
yeah.
the block.
Yeah, and I think probably to be absolutely honest with you, Stephen, that maybe appealed to me because I, you know, I'm very AI focused. I work a lot with AI with my own
Mhm.
business, and so let's leverage it. You know, what can we
Yeah.
do that the big agencies can't do because they've probably got to go through so many approval processes and all that sort of stuff. You know, we can be a bit
Mhm.
disruptive. Um,
Yeah. A lot
if
more
it gets me a
agile.
new if it gets me a new client, brilliant.
Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah. We'll have to
Doesn't
go.
work. Doesn't work. We'll see.
No, I love it. One of my other clients has that kind of approach as well, and it's such a pleasure working with him because I'll give him some wacky idea and he'll go, "Yeah, let's do it." And a lot of the time, it does work out. I mean, recently we were running a meta ad campaign for him, and I figured out a way that you could target just a specific building with Meta's targeting. Have you ever run Meta ads before? Are you
I've
familiar
done a
with?
lot of meta work with my own business.
Right. Okay.
But it's interesting. I'd be interested to know what you thought because my targeting, I can't work out the targeting because 2 years ago when I first started using Facebook ads, you could target literally because obviously I was trying to target women in wellness, people who follow, I don't know, Mel Robbins, for example. You could literally target,
Right.
but I don't know if you can do that anymore, can you? The last ad campaign I ran, I couldn't, it didn't work. So I don't know
Right.
what I'm
Okay. I
doing
see.
wrong around the targeting.
Well, you still can get quite granular with the targeting based on different demographics and interests, but honestly, the meta algorithms have advanced so much at this point that most of the time you're going to get better results just by being very specific in the actual ad copy and the text on the ad itself, you know, calling out, you know, marketing managers, for example, and then letting the algorithm do the targeting for you. But with stand designers, it's a little bit of a weird industry to try and work with for Meta because you know you're targeting very specific groups of people. So what we found out that we could do was the minimum radius that you can choose on Meta is like a mile, and you can put down a circle. So we put a load of exclusion radiuses around the Excel Center and the NEC, and then just put another mile radius in the middle. And it was literally just targeting the specific building of the Excel Center and the NEC Center. And we were able to run ads to people that way. And we had a few good leads come through that way. So I do think that it's really important to experiment with new things
Yeah.
because that's how you find those strategies that nobody else is tapping into yet.
No, I totally agree with you. And you know, I'm interested to do that for my own business as well because I've got a very specific niche in terms of who I work with.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm just a bit done with I don't do bro marketing and all that nonsense. I need to just find a
Mhm.
system that works for both my business and Tom's business. So I'm interested to sort of chat with you about that. Just explain to me though. So for example, if the exhibitors are going to the NEC or to
Mhm.
Excel, why would targeting them through the keywords, the fact that they were going to a show, because obviously they're not based within a mile radius of, they could be in America, they're just going to a show at the NEC. So how
Yeah.
does that meta tag work for them? How does that meta work for them?
So we just target the people that are visiting that area. And then the copy was something like, are you unhappy with your exhibition stand? Or did your exhibition stand cause you stress? Something like that. And then, you know, whilst they're there exhibiting at the show, if they're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook or anything, they can see that pop up. And of course, they're there with their
Got it,
stand.
got it, got it, got it. So it's
Yeah,
about timing. It's about the
yeah,
timing
that's
that they
right.
were at that show. So you're looking at retargeting for the next.
Yeah,
Got it. Which is the
yeah,
same as
exactly.
us. So that's the equivalent of us doing the show walk.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Got it.
And it's the same with the email campaigns that we send out as well. We're not just sending out, you know, food emails. We structure it so that people get an email immediately after a show, basically saying, you know, how was your experience there? Did it make you cry? Did it make you stressed? Did you lose sleep over it? Maybe we could help you for next year. And then we'll also target them sort of 8 months out, 3 months out, 6 weeks out. So we're making sure that people are getting messages from you at all the different stages where they could be looking at buying, essentially.
Yeah, no,
You
that
mentioned
makes.
that you're using AI quite a bit in across both businesses. I'm just wondering what you're doing at the moment.
So I use AI in my own business to support me with writing content,
Hmm.
and because I'm very prolific on social media for my business, and helping me write programs and courses and all
Okay.
those sort of things. Um, for Oaken, I've used AI to support me with some content writing, but
Hmm.
again, I need to invest more time with the AI because it's quite generic still. So I just need to keep talking to it, which I've done with my own business. It's like my best. It totally gets me. I can just say I feel this morning, and it knows exactly. I've spent a lot
Yeah.
of time with it. I haven't gone as far with Oaken, um, and maybe it's because I just need to find what this spin is. What is this new approach? As I
Hmm.
say,
Hmm.
I want to do something different, but I've got a bit of a mindset block because I've done it for so long,
Mm.
the traditional way. I desperately want to do something different, but haven't figured out what that different is yet. So
Yeah,
whether
I'm
it's
with
the
you.
tech or what, I don't know. So maybe that's where the
Right.
support, I
Okay.
need the support. Because when, I need if I was in my agency now, I would be brainstorming with the web designers and all those sort of stuff, but I don't have that. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah. It's hard when you're in a vacuum and it's just, you know, a couple of people in the business and you've both been kind of doing the same thing for so long that you do kind of get the blinders on sometimes.
Yeah.
So, how are you reaching out to people at the moment? What's your approach when you send an email to somebody or if you pitch somebody at a show?
Just the usual. Hi, saw you at the show, same sort of thing. If you're looking for something different, or sorry, did I lose you? Oh, that's better. If you're looking for something different, just the same usual what we've always been doing.
Mhm.
But yeah, so tell me a bit about you guys. How did you end up doing Stephen Cox? Is your dad in exhibitions or something?
No, so it's my background professionally. I used to work in sales and then I ended up becoming the exhibition sales manager for a show called Beauty West Africa, which was the largest beauty show in Africa. So I got to kind of travel to Nigeria and meet the mayor of Lagos, which was pretty random but quite cool. And you know, going to various different exhibitions in Dubai and Italy, and just doing a bit of floor walking myself. Obviously, you know, we were the organisers of the events, but I still got a really good understanding of the industry as a whole. And then in February of last year, I'd been kind of researching AI for quite a few months prior to that, just because I found it so fascinating. And the more I looked into it, the more I realized, like, holy crap, you know, when it comes to sales, so much of the stuff that I'm doing day to day could be replaced. And because the company I was working at was fairly small, you know, I think they only had about 10 people when I started, and we were all based in the one office. So for the first time, I got to see how a business worked really, because you know we were in the same room with the marketing team and the finance team and the operations team, and just hearing them go about their routines and talk about the types of problems that they were having as well, I saw that AI had applications across everything. And so I thought, well, you know what, I'm young, I can afford to take the risk if it doesn't pay off. So I just started my own business, and I don't think I realised at the time how tricky it would be. But you know, thankfully, through a bit of dumb luck and just bloody minded perseverance, I'm still here and doing pretty well with it now. And I've worked with quite a number of businesses across the exhibitions industry as a whole, and also other industries too, doing a lot of sales automation, lead generation, and then also building more complex agentic systems and automations on the back end for companies as well to help them streamline their processes.
Brilliant.
So how about yourself?
Sorry?
How about yourself? What's your background?
Yeah, so I ran a design agency called 4D Design with the creative director for 28 years. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I was responsible for all the sales and marketing. So we had our best year was probably a 1.8 million turnover. You know, we had I only ever had two, at the most two guys who were working with me, who were walking the shows, following up leads, that sort of thing. And in those days it worked.
Yeah.
You know, it was all about relationships, it was all about people, and it started to get cold. You know, people just wanted you to send an email, send a proposal, they'd send a brief, they'd send a proposal. And I didn't really like that. I'm a people person. And so I sort of knew it was time for me to, I was getting jaded by the whole thing. It was time for me to move out. So that's why I set up my own business. But equally, my partner's business, Oaken, is doing very well, but he doesn't have any of that sales and marketing capacity more than anything else. So I've stepped in to support him. But as I say, I'm just doing what I did before. And I think as you know, things have changed, things are different. And I think we're not leveraging the opportunity to save time and money on all of this. So basically, I want to be running my business, but bringing leads in for Tom's business so he can deliver them. That's really what I want to be doing. And I want leads to be coming in for my business and his business automated. So, and I know it's possible to do that. I think the key is going to be just who we're talking to, what we're saying, and how we're reaching out to them. And that's probably where I need a bit of support.
Yeah, okay, absolutely.
So, question I just have for you is around confidentiality and conflict of interest, because obviously a lot of the agencies that you mentioned, we might be all targeting the same. I have no problem with that. I recognise that, you know, but I just wondered what's your take on that?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm working with 3 companies that do exhibition stand design. I've got now exhibition, they build kind of shell scheme stuff. They're very low ticket, and they're both on the much higher ticket side of things. You know, a project for them might be 200 grand plus, and there's not really much overlap in which shows they're targeting. So if you're kind of in the mid-range, obviously there's still a huge amount of shows out there that haven't been tapped into at all. But even for the shows that we have already worked for those guys, you would be going after a different segment of the market. And also, I'm only taking on another 2 sound designers before I just kind of bin that niche off, because, like you say, everybody is targeting the same people at the end of the day. And I don't want to be competing against myself, because I'm pretty good and I don't like that guy. So, yeah, I don't think there would be much of an issue with it.
No, I'm just curious to know. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what you're proposing is going to be the methodology and the framework of how it works. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
What I don't want is what I'm questioning is whether one potential lead exhibitor is going to get the same email from 2 different people.
No, so it wouldn't be the same email. We would work with you to come up with copy that reflects your brand but is also effective. And of course, you know, we have different frameworks that we use that we found to see success across the industry. So we've always got a good starting foundation, but you know, every company has a slightly different way that they like to sell, and buyers have different ways that they like to be sold to. So we find that by working with the companies and having that copy creation be a more collaborative process, then you know, it stops us from sending out the same email time and time again, but it also attracts the type of customers that you actually would want to work with.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So tell me how it works then. What does a proposal look like from you?
In terms of pricing and numbers,
Well, just how the whole thing works. What do you do?
yeah, so we charge a month, sorry, we charge an initial setup, which is 1975, and then a monthly retainer of £1,000 a month. And that covers your cold email, your LinkedIn outreach, and all of the automations on the back end as well to forward those leads straight over to you, integrate them within your CRM so that people are being automatically added, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, and what sort of numbers each month then are you talking at that level?
We aim for 10 opportunities a month. So for since the start of this year, I think we've generated 40 for them. And then for events, I think we're around sort of 34, 35.
Okay.
And they've both more than covered their costs on us for a year. They've signed a couple of clients there. So, you know, we've paid for ourselves for probably, well, I think about the next decade with Chains. They signed quite a big client pretty much within the first month. So they were quite happy with us. And then, yeah, a couple as well.
What about the database? Obviously, you create that database, don't you? You scrape the leads, I think, from the shows. If I got a database, could I give you that database too?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually the way that we prefer to work with our clients, is that those would be the first campaigns that we would run for you with your existing data, because obviously those are companies that know of you, so they're slightly warmer than completely cold outreach. And we find that, you know, companies that have that existing database already that we can work with, they tend to see ROI much quicker. And then from there, you would just tell us which shows that you want to work, and we would do the rest.
And do you source shows for us that might work as well? Are you sort of out looking, or are you relying on me to tell you which shows to target?
Yeah, so we'd need you to tell us which shows you wanted to work. We just find that the business has a better idea of, you know, which types of niches they work best with, which industries they prefer to target. But there's no limit really on the number of shows. You know, if you wanted to give us a list of 10 to target in a month, then we could do that. Obviously, if it was a huge show like, say, Medica or Gulfood, where you've literally got like 5,000 plus exhibitors, then we might have to talk about just a one-off additional charge there, because obviously it's quite expensive on our side to get that amount of data with the types of scraping that we do. But, you know, if it's a smaller show, sort of 800 exhibitors, less than that, then yeah, there's no limits really.
And what about the campaigns? Is that included in that in terms of you working on a campaign? Obviously, we pay the Facebook fee, but how does that work then if you're doing
Is this the Meta campaign as well?
Yeah.
Oh, so if you wanted Meta ads running, that would be an additional 500 setup, and then the management of that would be included in the monthly.
In the monthly, that's fine.
Yeah, and then of course
And
you've
then
got your ad spend with Meta.
Yeah. And what sort of ad spend do we need to be looking at, do you think?
I would recommend to start with around £15 a day. That would allow us to, you know, experiment with the ads, the headlines, find something that works, and then we just pick the best performer, and we can scale up from there until, you know, you stop seeing a return on it.
Okay. And tell me about the LinkedIn campaign. How does that work? Then the LinkedIn strategy, is that what you're proposing? So say you've got 1,000 names.
Mm-hmm.
What are you proposing to do with those 1,000 names? Email to start with, or are you going to LinkedIn those, or what's the thought?
So we like to run the emails and the LinkedIn at the same time, because we find that there's a really good synergy between the two. Because, you know, you're hitting people across both platforms that way. Somebody might see an email from you and then forget to respond, but then they get a connection request from you a couple of days later and it jogs their memory, and then they get back to you. So yeah, we find that they work really well, and especially with you now being able to send the voice messages, uh, they complement the text copy in the email. So, you know, you might be able to put specific numbers in your email copy, for example, that they can see in black and white, and then also get the personal aspects of hearing you talk, gaining a bit of a sense of your personality. So they work really well together. And in terms of how we set up the campaign, we would make it so that, you know, you view their profile, then you like their most recent post, then you wait a few hours, send them a connection request, then wait another few hours, and
So
then
do
send
I
them an
have to
initial
do that,
message.
or are you doing that on my behalf?
This is all automated, so it's going out from your account, but our systems are handling everything. Because when we scrape the data, we get people's LinkedIn profile links as well.
Yeah, okay. Brilliant. What else do we need to know? Is there a minimum sign-up time, or can we just sign up for a couple of months just as a trial? How does it work?
Yeah, so we don't lock you into any type of contract. I would say if you could give us at least 3 months to, you know, work with the copy, do the A/B testing that we need to do, and, you know, give it a chance, because the first month of that as well is going to be spent on the setup and also the warming up process of the domains. So obviously you've done cold email before. I'm guessing you're familiar with the concept of warming up domains before you start sending to improve the deliverability.
Well, no,
So,
I think that's the area that I've missed. That's the bit
I
I've
see.
missed. Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, so one of the things that spam filters look for is the age of the domain and also the sending reputation of it. So think of it like a credit score, I guess, for your
Yeah.
emails. So if you just start sending out lots of emails straight away from a new domain, that's a massive red flag for them. So what we do is we add them to a warm-up pool where it's basically a load of AI that are sending fake emails back and forth to one another, and they're marking them as not spam, they're marking them as important, they're replying to them, they're moving them from spam into inbox so that it simulates that human activity and makes them look like they're you know, just regular emails that are being used by real people. And that's how we're able to get such high deliverability.
Makes sense. Okay.
So,
And in terms of the meta campaigns, I mean,
mhm,
we've never used, Oaken has a Facebook page, but
mhm,
we've never used Facebook as a source for leads for the business to business.
right.
Who's looking at them? The individual, the marketing director? Who are you targeting? The actual person through Facebook?
So again, this is where we kind of leave it up to Meta's algorithm to dial in the targeting for us. So in our copy, we might call out marketing managers, you know, right at the front. And then how their algorithm works is, even let's say you have a video, for example, Meta's algorithm will be looking at keywords that appear in the video. They'll be looking at what images are shown in the video. And they've got such a huge amount of data that they work with, obviously, from every single advert, that they can kind of match up the audience now automatically. So if you call out marketing managers, then it'll do a pretty good job of matching you up with marketing managers. And then when you combine that with the location-based targeting as well, making sure that you're just targeting, you know, the XL or the Fiera in Barcelona or the NEC, where there's a higher concentration of those types of people that we're looking at, then it's able to do a pretty good job matching people up.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. Um, okay. On my business side of things, for my business,
Mhm.
so obviously, sorry, just to go back. So we're not offering a free, we're not offering a lead magnet or anything. This is an advert for them to come to the website or something. What would the Facebook ad be
Yeah, so
doing?
with the ads that we ran for General Lead Magnet was a free concept design and project management timeline. So are you offering any kind of free concept designs or anything like that at the moment?
Yeah, all the designs are always free. Every pitch is always free.
Yeah.
The timeline, I have if you go on our website, we've got an ROI checklist.
Okay.
So, and there's a few things on there that I've done as sort of free lead magnets. But
Mhm.
yeah, can happily do a free, if that's what gets leads, free design and a timeline, then that's something that's easily we could
Yeah.
do.
And another lead magnet that worked really well for Generation was they put together. It was really good, to be fair. They put together a guide for marketing managers exhibiting at the which exhibition hall was it? Uh, it was the exhibition hall that ICE had moved to this year. It was a
Barcelona, the
new
Fear
hall.
of Barcelona, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's the one. Um, and they put together a guide specifically how to maximize your visibility at that. So talking about the layout of the hall,
Yeah.
making sure that you on the plan that you got from the designers, they
Yeah.
included columns and
Yeah.
stuff so that you knew whether you were being blocked by line of sight, all that kind of stuff. And that did really well. We ran email campaigns specifically to the ICE exhibitors and also LinkedIn campaigns as well. And they had quite a few people come back
I
to
can
them on
imagine.
that.
Yeah, that's really good. We could do something like that easily. Yeah, because we know
Yeah.
that show very, very well as
Okay.
well.
Yeah. So
So yeah,
I think lead magnets that target specific exhibition halls is quite a good idea. Talking about how, oh, this hall is really narrow and there's long lines of sight down the hall, so you want to have your logo kind of on the corner type thing. That was the type of stuff that they were talking about, and
yeah,
yeah, it was good.
yeah. No, we can put something together like that. That's easy enough. Brilliant. Okay. Just on my business side, if you don't mind me just asking about mine. So
No, of
obviously
course
it's
not.
much, much smaller. I've got a database of 200 people,
Hmm.
but I need to grow my audience. I only need 1 or 2 clients a month.
Hmm.
Um, my open rates dropped hugely on the emails, and yet I've been emailing these people for 3 or 4 years, and the open
Right.
rates dropped enormously. So would that be something to do with the domain or the algorithm
I would
or
imagine
whatever?
so. Yeah, I would
Yeah,
imagine that most of those emails will be going straight to people's spam folders.
yeah, yeah. And again, in your opinion, lead magnet, I've done a PDF for download, how to sell less and serve more, all that sort of stuff. Again, very low traction on the meta. So is it the quality of the lead magnet? Do I need to, and again, I'd like to come up with something a bit more creative. I don't like lead magnets as such. I think they're a
Yeah,
bit cold. I'd rather send a video or something, but again, it's just what could I do that's a little bit different, really.
yeah. I mean, could you just go into a bit more detail about what it is exactly that you offer?
Yeah, so I support women who in the wellness space, so they probably are homeopaths
Hmm.
or yoga teachers or acupuncturists or whatever, and they're very passionate about the job that they've done. They've come out of corporate, but when it comes to actually running their business, they don't really have that business acumen to go out and do sales and marketing, and so they keep buying these programs online. Here's a template, how to get 10,000K a month, all that nonsense. So what
Yeah,
I do is support them with, I've got a workshop next week around aligned and booked out, it's called. It's actually giving them the methodology around selling. So a lot
right.
of it's
Okay.
that mindset that they're serving, not selling.
Is that a
Um,
paid workshop? Is it?
yeah, that one's a paid workshop,
Hmm.
and I need to up the sales on that.
Hmm.
It's slightly weird because I'm selling them. I know how to tell them how to sell, but I haven't sold it out myself. So
Right. Yeah.
that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've got a week to try and sell it out because
Hmm.
otherwise I'm not really practicing what I preach. But I know how to do this stuff for other
Hmm.
people, but
Right.
it just
Okay.
isn't landing for me right now for some
Yeah, I
reason.
know exactly what you mean. So, what I'd probably say there, because lead magnets, especially when it comes to PDFs, free ebooks, guides, they've been done to death at this point. They're not really very effective anymore. So you need to be a bit more high effort with the lead magnet. So, for example, if I do a speaking event, for example, one of the things that I'll always offer at the end of it is a free AI audit. So, book a call with me. We'll go into detail about your processes, and then I'll put together a 5-page report of where we can save you time. Um, you know, how you could maybe scale without having to hire, all that kind of stuff. So, I think in that instance, if you're already running workshops and webinars and things like that, instead of having them be paid, perhaps see that as the lead magnet.
I've done
And
that. I've
then,
done some free masterclasses. I've done a
mhm,
few free things. I get quite few sign-ups and then people don't turn up. I find them very draining. I don't
Right, I
enjoy,
see.
I love talking to people, but I
Mhm.
get I don't get a lot of sign-ups. So again, I need to do the meta campaigns, I suppose, to get
Yeah,
more sign-ups, I suppose.
yeah, okay. So I think that sounds more like a top of the funnel issue then, because I'm thinking you'd want to play on the emotional side of things and speak to these women and say, look, you've taken the leap, you're doing something that you're passionate about, but you just don't have this marketing experience. This is where I come in. I've got 25 years of marketing experience, um, generating millions of pounds of new business for companies. Uh, I'm going to offer you, join my free webinar. It's a live webinar. I'm going to answer all your questions, show you some of the strategies that are working right now for your industry, or come along to this workshop. We can work one-on-one. I'll give you some personalized advice, or even do what I do and do like a kind of marketing audit thing where book a one-on-one marketing consultation with me, and I'll put together a tailored roadmap for you, letting you know how you can market your wellness business, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I just need to sort of do that. Just out of interest, if you were to do this project for me,
Mhm.
would you charge? You wouldn't charge me the same for my level of what I'm looking for, would you?
So again, it'd be 500 set up on the campaign. We'd create your ad copy as well on that, and then to manage an A/B test and everything would be 300 a month.
Okay. And just to do all my ad campaigns, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Well, it might be something worth looking at,
Mhm.
definitely.
Okay, cool.
Okay, what's the next? What do you need to do? Send me a proposal, or what
Yeah,
else
well,
do you need to know?
what is the decision making process for you? You've heard all the numbers and what we do.
Yeah, so
What would you like to do?
I need to present what you've talked about with Tom, who
Mhm.
owns the business. He's the MD, so he's the money man. So I need to talk to him. So I don't know if do you have a proposal document you want to send me rather than me
Yeah,
just
I can send you that over straight after
whiz that
this.
over and I'll talk to Tom for you.
Okay, fantastic. And for you personally, is this something that you're confident is going to work and is the right steps for the business?
Yeah.
You don't sound very sure.
No, I'm thinking rather than me just say yes and it not be, I
Mhm.
don't want to give, I don't know where this is going to go because it will come down to money. I
Yeah, of
think
course.
I can see from our conversation what the gaps are.
Mhm.
I've taken it so far, but I think there's opportunities to go even further.
Mhm.
Um, I like the idea of having someone to brainstorm some ideas on things like lead magnets, what will work, trying things, that
Mhm.
sort of stuff as well. I think there's some value in that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, okay. I'm confident, but yeah, I need to talk to Tom.
Okay, of course. And just quickly, you mentioned Lead Connector. Is that a CRM system? Are you using any kind of CRM at the
Yeah.
moment? Oh, it is. Okay, okay, cool. Um, all right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Do you have any other questions or concerns about anything that I could address before we finish?
No, only in that your email went into my spam, which was a bit weird. So just so you know
Is
that.
this the reminder email for the
Just the
meeting?
confirmation of the appointment. Because I
Yes.
thought it
So
hadn't come through. So just to let you know.
yeah, that's because we've literally just finished white labeling our own CRM system as well. Um, Literally last week. So we're still doing the warm up for the domains that are attached to that at the moment. So yeah, not the best look I know for somebody that does email marketing, but
That's
the
why I
actual
thought I'd know.
campaign emails, they will go to people's inboxes.
So how many of you are in the team at Samurai?
So it's myself. We've got a lead developer, Ashley, and then a couple of guys helping me out on the sales side of things.
Brilliant, brilliant. And it's going well?
It is, yeah. I mean, AI, it's fantastic industry to be in at the moment. There's so much kind of buzz around it. Businesses, I think, are at the stage now where they realise that it is something that they need to be looking at. When I first started, it wasn't. There was a lot of kind of misunderstanding around what it was. A lot of people were thinking that it would just kind of blow over and that it was a fad. But it seems like the company culture is shifting now towards businesses realizing that this isn't something that's just going to go away. And I think companies now have also had the chance to start experimenting with it internally and seeing for themselves the types of time savings that they can get from it. And so they know now that having an expert in it that can come and, take it to the next level is quite important for them.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge, because Tom doesn't get the AI.
Right,
As I use it a lot, he doesn't get it. So I think the conversation is going to have to be more around, I don't want to say convincing, but sort of educating him on the value of what the AI can do.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and I suppose the biggest thing is going to be, will we see a quick win? Will we see a quick return on his investment? But you're saying that other people have.
Yeah. The way that I would ask you to think about it is that we're essentially automating manual processes that people are already doing in the industry to get leads. There's companies out there that are still sending hundreds of manual emails, LinkedIn messages, and that is their primary source of lead generation. So it does work, we're just automating it. And to put it in context, we can be sending out 800 emails a day. So if you hired somebody to send out 800 emails every single day for you, and LinkedIn messages as well, then you'd expect them to get you some business. So yeah, that's the way I'd ask you to think about it. What do you think Tom's main sort of concerns or objections might be?
Just, he doesn't understand the AI process, the value of AI. I think at the moment, he just needs to see that it's actually a tool.
Right,
so I think there's something there I've got to just sort of talk to him about. The other question I was going to ask you is around SEO and that sort of stuff. Would you look at I know you're not SEO managers, but would you look at our website or any of the emails that we're sending, just to make sure we're optimizing for SEO, all of that sort of stuff? Or not really?
So if we were building funnels for you, then we would build your landing page. But we don't really touch SEO stuff, to be honest. Though
Okay,
I do have a couple of contacts that I could refer you over to, who I know do a good job at very reasonable prices.
that's okay. That's fine. Just understanding sort of the full gamma of what we need to make sure that we're optimizing and maximum. I'm all about trying to make this as easy as possible.
Yeah, of course.
And leveraging it so that we can just spend time with the clients, really, and spend more time on the pitches the leads that we get.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're a two-man band, then your time is valuable. You don't want to be having to split your focus between sales and marketing and then fulfilling on the work that you get and managing those client relationships as well. You just want to hand all of that over to somebody like myself who can give you the leads, and then your time is spent forming those human connections and doing the stuff that AI can't do.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Stephen. Well, I really appreciate your time. Really interesting. Really, really interesting. And I would say,
Thanks.
well done for jumping onto something that needs to be done.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing with your business sounds exciting and good for you.
Thank you very much. I'm loving it, to be honest.
Yeah, you obviously know your stuff. So, and say I'm a big advocate of AI. I use it a lot. But I'm just learning on the job myself. So, I think it's great to chat and see that I'm doing it the right way. It's just I'm not necessarily leveraging it to its potential yet either.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, so many businesses in this industry are just antiquated. I mean, one of my clients, before I started working with him, he was printing out everything on paper and storing it in folders. And I remember the first week that I sent him email leads come through, and we had our weekly end of week catch up call. And bless him, he appears on the Zoom meeting holding a sheaf of the printed out emails that I'd sent over to him. So the fact that you are already kind of using AI already puts you ahead of a lot of other businesses in the industry. And working with somebody like myself who can take you to that next level, it's a massive competitive advantage for you.
Yeah, I think so. So sorry, just going back to that, how does it work then? Is that what we would do? Meet once a week, or how do you work on a sort of operational level?
Yeah, so it's up to you really. Usually what I do with most of my clients is we have a call on Friday, just a weekly catch up. Uh, After we've been working with clients for 2, 3 months, we might drop that down to once every 2 weeks because they're happy with what we're doing, happy to kind of give us a bit more autonomy and let us just kind of do our thing. But yeah, it's up to you, whatever works best for you. And in the first sort of month or so, we'd probably catch up a bit more frequently, just so I can let you know what's going on our end, how the setup's going, just kind of show you that we've not taken your money and disappeared, which I know is what a lot of agencies do. So yeah, we're kind of at the stage where we're growing, but we're still small enough to give you that level of personalized service as well.
Okay. Brilliant. All right. Yeah, whiz that over to me on email, and then we'll chat next week.
Will do. Thanks, Suzanne. It's been a pleasure.
All right. See
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.